Hey everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Crypto Invest. I have a lot to tell you today, so let's get right into it. But I do want to say that this is for informational purposes only and should not be considered as investment advice. So let's get into it. So let's take a look at Bitcoin price. It is currently at 16,670. Today Bitcoin had quite an amazing run up. Like yesterday you also seen Bitcoin run up quite a bit as well. So yesterday Bitcoin went from around 13,000, it ended the day at around 15,000. That's when I went to bed. Woke up this morning, get a couple of text messages from some of my friends telling me that Bitcoin is now at 16,000. And by the time I check Coinbase account, Bitcoin actually went all the way up to 18,000, and by the time I'm done brushing my teeth, Bitcoin is actually at 19,700. And then after that, you see some selling off, and then now Bitcoin is stabilizing the whole day at around 16,000, 17,000. And yes, it's kind of crazy that we are looking at Bitcoin in terms of thousand now, like as if 16,000 to 17,000 is nothing. It's just a small range. We came a long way. We came a long way from when Bitcoin was, 3,000 to 4,000 was a big deal. 16,000 to 17,000 is not a big deal nowadays. So no doubt the biggest thing that can drive Bitcoin at the moment is the fact that future trading is going to launch on Sunday. So 3 days from now, December 10. And the first one is going to be launched by the CBOE. And then after that, a week after that, on December the 18th, the second Bitcoin future trading exchange is going to launch on the CME platform, which is the Chicago Mercantile Exchange. So those two are the biggest driver at the moment. Of course, CBOE is going to be launching their Bitcoin future contracts very shortly here. And a lot of the action that you are seeing now is the fact that people are very excited about this future trading contract platform for Bitcoin. I'm going to talk about that in a little more details. But what you are seeing now is that people are just taking their position. They accumulate Bitcoin in anticipation that when a future contract is launched, it's going to drive up the price of Bitcoin. Whether or not that's going to be the case is up to debate. So I'm going to present a couple points regarding to that in a little bit. Of course, we did receive some other news relating specifically to Bitcoin development of the scaling solution, which is the Lightning Network. So it looks like Lightning Network have been doing a lot of testing in the background. Looks like today the startups behind the 3 most active Lightning implementation have reviewed the test result. And these 3 are Blockstream, Lightning Labs, and the ACINQ. And the testing come back very positive. They included some test results as well as live transactions, and everything seemed to be moving according to plan. Based on this article on CoinDesk, it is almost ready. Of course, it's not yet ready for LiveNet, but they believe that it's going to be ready a lot quicker than people anticipated. But I do want to say that in any given time, this is going to be the big headline for Bitcoin, because Bitcoin debate for scaling and the scaling issue has been the front and center of the Bitcoin network and the Bitcoin community. But the fact that this news actually got overshadowed by the future trading, and I'm not quite convinced that this has anything to do with the price of Bitcoin run up so much the last few days. I really think that any news for Bitcoin now is going to be overshadowed by futures trading a Bitcoin contract coming up in the next few days. And until this one is coming over, this is going to be continue to be in the back burner for now. We also, of course, get some more positive news for Bitcoin. It looks like Goldman Sachs is going to participate in Bitcoin clearing contracts. They're not exactly allowing their customer to buy and sell Bitcoin future contracts. Goldman Sachs actually going to allow certain customer on a case-by-case basis to buy and sell Bitcoin contracts. But what their main role in this particular Bitcoin future trading coming up is that they're gonna act as the middleman. So the middleman is where the custodian gonna took place, where the money is being deposited. So just in case when one of the party is defaulted and when the future contract needs to be redeemed or settled in cash, then the middleman is the one who going to take care of that transaction. So that's what Goldman Sachs is looking to take part in this particular venture of the CBOE and the CME Bitcoin future contracts. If they see it profitable, I think they are going to full forces and allow most of their clients to be trading the Bitcoin future contracts. So it's looking more and more like PloyFlankFi is moving closer and closer to accepting Bitcoin as part of the bank strategies. So take a look at what he has to say in the interview. Actually, he had written this. He say, I read a lot of history, and I know that once upon a time, a coin was worth $5 if it had $5 worth of gold in it. Now we have paper that is just backed by fiat. Maybe in the new world, something gets backed by consensus. So it looks like he's starting to come around. He's starting to move his bank toward adopting cryptocurrencies, first with Bitcoin and hopefully with Ethereum, so far and so on. So very good news for Bitcoin at the moment. We have also some other news coming out from Russia. As you know, that Russia and Bitcoin have quite a complicated relationship. At first they like it, then they don't like it, then they like it, then they don't like it. According to this article from the Cointelegraph earlier today, it looked like Russia have a change of heart once again. They are going to allow Bitcoin. They are going to recognize Bitcoin in their country. The Russian president has ordered the government to set up regulations for the trade of Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies, ICOs, and mining by July 2018. So in about 6 months, it looks like Russia is going to recognize Bitcoin as a legitimate asset class that's allow their citizens to trade, to mine, and to offer initial coin offerings in Russia. But as with many things, we have seen this before when Russia endorsed Bitcoin and then just a couple months later they decided to go the complete opposite way. So what you say that they won't do that this time around? So let's wait and see. However, on the other hand, we do have another country that have a complex relationship with Bitcoin as well, which is India. As of now, the Reserve Bank of India, besides issue 2 warnings, so they issued the first warning against the cryptocurrencies on December 24, 2013, and then again earlier this year in February 2017. They basically issue a warning that dealing with Bitcoin cryptocurrencies can carry significant risk. There are very little custom protection, and there are also security related risks as well when you are dealing with cryptocurrencies. So as of now, India has not yet have a clear framework as to whether or not they will accept Bitcoin. And India is definitely an up and coming market in terms of trading volumes, in terms of adoption of the cryptocurrencies. So hopefully something come out of this sooner than later, but we will have to wait and see. Take a look back at Ethereum, the whole CryptoKitties situation. I talked about this yesterday. CryptoKitties, like as you know, is a game on a blockchain that's run using smart contract, and then you can buy and sell kitties for Ethereum. So what really come out of this is the fact that this game got exploded. A lot of people joining in the bandwagon. The game got pretty popular, and as the result of that, it slowed down the Ethereum network significantly. So yesterday and the day before, when I tried to send Ethereum using the standard gas and fees, it actually took me over 3 hours to transfer Ethereum from my Coinbase wallet to my MetaMask wallet so I can buy some CryptoKitties. That really turned me off, and I did not end up buying any CryptoKitties. But the issue is still there. Right now, there are a lot of people that are complaining about the fact that the fees for Ethereum are getting pretty high now because of the fact that the network is so congested. There's some debate as to whether or not they should raise or increase the gas limit. would also mean that you have to pay more when a transaction go through. And this, of course, sent a shockwave to a lot of people. It's really sent people into reality mode that Ethereum is not ready for mainstream adoption at all. I mean, the fact that one popular app on Ethereum can significantly make the networks really slow and really expensive. So scaling is definitely at the heart of the focus for Ethereum at the moment. And if you're not familiar with how Ethereum works in terms of gas, I put a link to this in the description below, but I can walk you through very quickly. So when you sign your transaction and send your transaction in Ethereum, it's going to the, say you're using MyEther wallet, it's going to go to the MyEther wallet, and then it's going to send the transaction over to the transaction pool. So all the transactions are going to end up in this pool here, and then the miners will pick the transaction, put in the blocks, and then verify the transaction, which is very similar to how Bitcoin currently. The only difference here is that Ethereum use something called gas. So in Bitcoin you have network fees. Gas essentially is similar to network fee, but gas have two components. There's a gas limit and there's a gas price. So your total fee that you pay for Ethereum is the combination of gas limit times gas price. So the way that you can think about gas limit is that gas limit is like the amount of gallon or liters that you can put in your car, the maximum amount that you can do that. And the gas price is how much you pay per gallon or per liter at the gas pump. And the reason why you have to have gas limit and gas price is the fact that when the network congested, the miner will need to pick and choose which transaction to be included into the current blocks, and then the rest of the transaction will be included in the following blocks, however long it's going to take. So the only way that they can use to distinguish which transaction they should prioritize is based on how much fees each transaction is going to make for them. So they are incentivized by picking transactions that have higher fees, therefore they can make more profit mining Ethereum. So that's why when you want your transaction to be processed quickly, in the case as we're currently in, when there's a lot of network congestion for Ethereum, you do want to pay a little higher gas limit and gas price. And the reason why they have to separate gas limit and gas price is the fact that gas limit is really the maximum number of gas you are willing to spend on a transaction. Just in case something go wrong and you end up paying a lot of gas for it, these are the maximum amount of gas that the system will recognize you're willing to spend. And based on how much gas you're willing to spend, you can also choose which price you're willing to pay per unit of gas. They call them GIAO in Ethereum. So the standard currently is 21,000 in gas limit. And then for normal time, 40 GIAO of gas price will almost get you into the next block. So that's the highest and the most faster in terms of speed. And then 20 GIAO will get you within the next few blocks. And then when you want to be really cheap, 2 GIAO will get you within the next few minutes. So they are talking about raising the gas limit because of the network congestion at the moment, so meaning that they willing for people to put a little more gas limit on their transaction so they can be included on the very next block. So that's really what the debate is about, and people are complaining about the fact that it is now very expensive to send Ethereum, all because of this game here. But you gotta look at it beyond CryptoKitties. It's really not CryptoKitties' fault. All it was just a popular game that point out the facts that Ethereum has a scaling issue. It haven't been talked about a lot. The Bitcoin scaling debate has been really front and center. But Ethereum scaling issue is nowhere less than that. Good thing, like I say from the video yesterday, is that Ethereum does have a lot of solutions already in the work. You have Casper, you have the micro rating, you have TrueBit, and then you have a lot of other solutions that currently in the work and testing. So hopefully we see something come out of that, because this issue does need to be solved pretty quickly here before the next popular application on Ethereum going to day view itself. Alright, let's go back to Bitcoin and talk about Bitcoin particularly. And the reason why, because Bitcoin really is a center of the attention now. Dominance at 64%, pretty huge, all eyes on Bitcoin. The altcoins are suffer at the moment, as you know that when Bitcoin does go parabolic, it does suck up a lot of the market cap from another coins. Take a look at the snapshot of the charts on the left hand side. They almost all of them had a similar shape. You know, they all kind of going down because of Bitcoin sucking up so much capital. So couple ways to look at this. You can look at this as an excellent time to pick up some altcoins. Although I gotta say that if Bitcoin continues to go up, it's gonna suck even more capital from all the altcoins. So pretty good day today if you are holding Bitcoin. Not so good of a day if you are holding all the altcoins at the moment. So what I'm trying to say is that altcoin can see further downside if Bitcoin continues to rise. So the question is, can Bitcoin continue to rise? Have a quite significant rise already over the last few weeks. The last couple of days, it's just completely insane. Take a look at what happened this morning when Bitcoin went all the way to almost $20,000. The volume is pretty high on the buy side. So the volume of this 30 minutes candle bar is pretty high. And then after that, it just dropped very quickly from 19,700 all the way down to 18,195 at the end of the candle. So what this is telling me is that there are a lot of selling pressure. The closer you get to 20,000, that sell pressure is pretty real. A lot of people have a lot of Bitcoin they want to sell prior to 20,000, and that what caused this very quickly drop here. But the fact that we have a lot of selling demand was able to recover and close at around 18,000. And then the next two candles, you have a lot of selling pressure, but the volume is just not there. And almost in all cases, with the exception with a few of them, anytime you have a green candle, which is a positive candle for pricing, the volume seems to be a little bit higher than the previous sell candle, the red candle. So that tells me that a lot of this action here, number one, when it's pretty low volume, is that the action mostly caused by the institutional investors, and that the fact that when you have a higher volume on the buy side than on the sell side, it tells me that the support is definitely there. And you can see that throughout the day, anytime it drops, there is definitely a support coming in to keep it above a certain level, which is at around 16,000 at the moment. So even when it dropped just the last couple hours, the buyer come in to kind of push it back up to above 18,000. I'm sorry, above 16,000, almost $17,000 now. So can they go higher? Well, let's take a look. So first of all, you need to understand that every time you sell your Bitcoin, someone is buying it. Anytime you buy some Bitcoin, someone is selling it. So clearly, you and that person are more than likely getting the same information. A lot of information are public. So the way that people interpret data can be very different, you know, given the exact same data set. So when you buy Bitcoin, someone else is looking at Bitcoin pretty bearishly, and you need to understand why they are bearish on Bitcoin. Similarly, when you sell Bitcoin, someone is willing to buy it from you, so you need to understand why they are willing to buy it from you. So I cannot predict what happens in the future, but I can help you understanding some of the information that are available and need to be taken into consideration, and maybe helping you understand the other side of the argument, whether or not you bearish or bullish. So let's go with bullish for a second. So why should you buy Bitcoin at the moment? Bitcoin has quite a run up. Should you wait? Why do you have to buy now? So on the bull case, the bull really think that the sentiment is pretty high right now. People are excited about Bitcoin. More and more news and news outlets talking about Bitcoin, especially the traditional news outlet. This morning when I get to CNBC, actually let me show you. So I'm taking a look at CNBC, which is a pretty mainstream media in terms of finance, and right off the bat, Bitcoin is all over the news in the front page. Everyone is looking at it, more and more attentions. Looking at Bloomberg, similar story right on the front page. Something about Bitcoin. A lot of people coming in to the space. They like it, they don't like it, whatever it is. The fact is that more and more people are knowing about Bitcoin, and from an investment standpoint, I would say pretty mainstream already. Not from the adoption standpoint, but from the investment standpoint. So it's almost like a self-fulfilling prophecy. Everyone believes that it's gonna go up, therefore everyone is buying it, and less people believe that it will go down, therefore the price being pushed up. So pretty simple supply and demand concept there. And you can also looking at Bitcoin future contract, right? People are thinking that when the future markets open, a lot of institutional are gonna jump in this space, and more money gonna flow in here, and this is gonna really take off. That's when you're really gonna see that $40,000, $50,000, even $100,000 Bitcoin. And people don't want to miss that boat. They really want to take the position and wait for this to take off. So that's the bull case. Now look at the other side. Why should you be bearish against Bitcoin right now? Who dare to short Bitcoin? People who call the top, people who say that Bitcoin 10,000 was a bubble, Bitcoin 11,000 a bubble, 12,000, 13,000, now we're at 16,000 was a bubble. If you were shorting it, you are hurting a lot. I mean, if you shorted when it was 10,000, you are down more than 60% at the moment. So say you have $10,000, you short it, assume that no leverage was used, you will only have $4,000 as of this moment. So who would dare to short it? What are the reasons to do so? One of the very popular reasons that you want to short Bitcoin right now is that the fact that I have quite a major run up, and history does show that anything that go up this fast, you are going to see some retracement. The issue is you just don't know when the retracement is going to happen. People were so sure that we're going to see some major retracement when we were back here at 10,000. To now, we didn't see any significant retracement at all, any noticeable retracement, and then they continue to go up. So could Bitcoin go to $30,000 before you see a retracement? Absolutely. And how far would that retrace? Maybe it only retrace to 25,000 from 30. Maybe it's only retrace to 20,000 from 30. But you're still better off buying now. That's the bull case. But the bear case is that everything is overextended. Definitely a pullback gonna happen anytime now. Especially the fact that people buy the rumors, sell the news. Meaning that right now the rumors is that a lot of institutional investors gonna put a lot of money into Bitcoin. Therefore, we need to hold Bitcoin. But when the news come out, when the CBOE actually launched Bitcoin future contract on Sunday, and no money is actually going into this market, there wouldn't be any because they are settled in cash. But the argument right now is that even though they are settled in cash, a lot of the institutional is going to buy Bitcoin, actual Bitcoin, and they're gonna short Bitcoin future as a hedge against the position. Well, that's one theory. Another theory is that the institutional investor has been waiting for a chance to short Bitcoin for a long time now, and on Sunday they will have their shot at Bitcoin, and they're gonna come in and they're gonna short this market all the way down. That's another theory. That's why some people want to sell Bitcoin prior to that. And we actually have a pretty decent story on CoinDesk. I'm gonna link it to the description below, explaining what you may expect when the Bitcoin future is gonna launch in about a few days. They're talking about the fact that Bitcoin future is not settled in cash. Talk a little bit about how Bitcoin future works, which I think is very helpful if you get familiar with this. And then talk a little bit about why Bitcoin future may not be that positive for Bitcoin when it's launched. So that's the other side of the story. Now, with that being said, my take is that Bitcoin future contract will overall be a good things for Bitcoin in the long run. So I can't predict what will happen on Sunday when the Bitcoin future launch. Whether Bitcoin gonna shoot up, it's gonna go down a lot, it's gonna stay still. No one knows. All I can tell you is that it's one additional tools that the investor can use when they are trading Bitcoin to either hedge themselves or use that as insurance or use it as a sole product to trading and selling Bitcoin because they don't like your whole actual Bitcoin. Whatever it is, it's going to create more attention to the space. More investors are going to know about the space, and it's going to have more institutional as well as retail investor coming in. And this space will grow overall because of that. So in the long run, I think it's going to be a positive thing. In the short run, not so sure. Now, should you buy or should you sell at the moment? So based on what I just tell you, I think, it's only you who can make decision for yourself, because everyone is in a different situation, right? It's a lot different when you was buying Bitcoin and your average cost basis is around 5,000 or even 10,000, right? You have quite, a bit of gain already, and what should you do with that gain? Very different than someone who actually bought at 15,000. He have very little gain right now. Should I take that gain? And of course, if you bought this morning when it was 18,000, you down a little bit now, so you hold it, so you sell it. So different for everyone. What I can tell you is, I think, and this is not financial advice, right? The best thing you can do in this market, when there's so much exuberance in the market at the moment, and when the market gets to this level, a lot of technical analysis is not very valid anymore, because just about any technical indicator over the last couple of weeks will tell you that it's overbought. But Bitcoin continues to rise up, and each time that it's settled at a certain price, a lot of time the technical analysis gets reset. So in these cases, I don't really look too much into technical analysis because it's just not gonna be worth it. What I do say is that the best thing you can probably do right now is nothing. So if you can afford to do nothing, I think that's probably the best thing you can do. Wait it out. Wait to see what happened to the Bitcoin option trading, and then react to that. If you want to buy right now, if you really want to buy, I think you need to scale your position. You need to scale in slowly. If you have 1,000, maybe buy, 300 today, 300 the next day, 300 following days, whatever it is. You want to really scale your position in, as well as scaling out. If you want to sell, sell a little bit at the time and scale out slowly, because this market is too crazy. You can see $25,000 by tomorrow. Who knows? Or you can see, $8,000 by tomorrow. You just don't know. And in the case that it go up to 20,000 or 30,000, and you have sold your position, you don't want to be. You want to have some position left, so you can at least partake in that train riding up. Same thing, if this thing really go down, then if you really want to sell, then scale out your position. Sell a little bit at a time. So that way, if it really does drop, you don't feel so bad because you have already unloaded some position along the way to minimize your risk. But in the case that it go up, you can participate on the ride up. And also, if you are planning to buy at the moment, you need to have a much longer time horizon. It's gonna probably be a few months. If we actually see some significant pullback, it can last 3 months or more. We have seen that before. So as long as you're willing to hold it for a long term, it definitely doesn't make a difference if you buy them at 16,000 or 20,000. If you believe that Bitcoin gonna go up to 200,000 and more, then 16,000 entry point versus 17,000 entry point is not much of a difference in the very long run. And if you're willing to buy now, you gotta willing to hold when Bitcoin actually go down in value, because history show that eventually it's gonna regain. Of course, that history, we always don't know what's gonna happen next. And if you have a lot of gains in the market, so say you bought in when Bitcoin was as $6,000, $7,000, and now you have over 100% gain in the market, and say you invested $5,000 and now it's worth $12,000, $13,000, and it's keeping you up at night, then one thing you can do is, one, scaling out slowly, or two, you want to take your money off the table. You want to take out your initial investment, whatever it is, say $5,000, and you have the other $7,000 of the house money, if you will, in the market. Therefore, you can afford some risk with that money because it was all the gains that you have anyway. So that's another way to do that. So those are the way that you can play this market. Like I say, I am doing nothing. So at the moment, I'm not buying, I'm not selling. I'm simply waiting to see what happened on Sunday, and then I will decide from then. With that, this video is pretty long already, and I apologize for the long video. I do want to give this information to all my viewers. Thank you so much for the support so far, and you continue to support the channel. If you like the content, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. If you are new to the channel, I do video almost daily on the topic of cryptocurrency, so subscribe to my channel so you get the most updated information. With that, thanks again, take care, happy trading, and I will talk to you tomorrow. Bye bye.